Hey everyone, welcome back to the Friday show on the Round Table. And today, Ryan is not with us today as he was on the podcast. Just to be clear, we record these videos, both the podcast and the Friday show, on the same day because that's when we all meet. He could not be here because, like we said, the people at Walmart are dicks. But hopefully, he should be in his own separate segment. I think let's maybe put that at the end after we talk about ours.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about our favorite movie-going experiences. So
These aren't specifically about movies that were particularly good, but these were movies that were lifted up by the audience that we were with, and how reactive they were.
Exactly.
You want to go first, Tom? So, because you had a couple actually.
Yeah, sure. We talked about this last night. The two favorite ones, it's really just going to be 1 point because we want to keep it one each because we're trying to keep this short because we're on a time crunch.
Yeah.
My favorite movie-going experience so far, it's only this past couple of years I've been actively going to see more movies in the theaters. Usually I just, wait and see them at the on home video. But, I still do that sometimes. But nowadays I still... But my favorite movie-going experience, before I get too off topic, was seeing The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. So, The Force Awakens, there's a whole interesting story about that day. Ryan and I saw it. It was Thursday night, opening day, the first showing at the Regal Theater. But the funny thing is, the Thursday. That week, it was the last week of first semester of my senior year. There was a bomb threat. Yeah, it was the second to last day. Yeah. We don't know a lot of details. They didn't release a lot of stuff. So
I remember a few that the fake parts had been set up in the gym. But that was all I ever heard about it. They did catch the guy who did it, and he's serving time.
Right. But anyway, the day before we were in, Ryan and I were in our beginning men's choir classes. Great class, loved it, loved everybody there, most people there. But they put us on Code Yellow lockdown. So which basically means there's no immediate threat, but we've got to keep everybody secure. So and then they had to keep us a little bit after school. I can't remember. But then around like 3:15, 3:20, they said, okay, we're going to release you all. You're all going to be escorted out of the building. We could only go out certain doors. You couldn't go out to the athletic parking lot or the underclass lot. You had to go directly through, which we had the senior lot, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
So, but so you had to go this way. And all the teachers, and they canceled all after-school activities, all sports clubs, everything. Everybody had to go home right at 3:15, right at 3 o'clock, or when they let us go. So we went home, and Ryan and I said, okay, we'll meet at the Taco Bell, just to, get some food before we went to the movie. And well, we got home, I remember as it was driving away, there was police cars everywhere. There was and they actually called them the bomb squad. So yeah, and they closed off the whole gym area. They closed that whole area off, so you couldn't go that way. And they did other stuff too, and and then shortly after we got home, around 4 o'clock, they said that they canceled school the next day. They canceled the last day of that semester. So I was just like, wow. And that happened to my freshman year, too. Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that, actually.
Yeah. So only that year, they didn't do it very smart, because you had to do the finals on the Monday we came back.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember studying the last few days of that break.
I don't. But, then there was... But this time, they gave an extra week of that semester. So, to finish that semester and do those finals, which is good. I'm glad they did that. They at least learned from it. But anyway, so we were just like, wow, that whole week was it's kind of awesome. We don't have to go to school. We get an extra day. So, but Yeah. Anyway, so we meet up. We go. We have our Taco Bell, whatever, and then we go to the movies. So we're waiting in line, and I might post some photos and videos from my Instagram, and from back in the day. So, and the audience was totally awesome. There was like a kid behind me. I was really worried because he sounded like I didn't hear a thing out of him. So
that's good.
At least nothing annoying. But it's like the audience we saw, it was just like cheering, like, yeah! Like when like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away came up, or the logo came on,
the opening fanfare.
Yeah, and yeah, it was great. Or the Falcon came on, or when the movie ended, we were all just like, yeah. So yeah, regardless of what we think of it, but yeah, that was a great experience. And just to tie into that Last Jedi. That was pretty fun. Not as much happened, but I remember there was me, Ryan. This is actually shortly after I got into an automobile accident, so I was still kind of dealing with like whiplash and everything. I was in pain. So, but it was nice, because and Ryan did actually pay for all 3 tickets. He paid for mine, his, and his now fiance, Michaela's, which is cool. But yeah, that was really fun, getting but first we went to Buffalo Wild Wings, the first time I had ever been there.
Highly recommend it. Their wings are delicious.
Oh, yeah. So it's a really good place. Discovered some hot food at the time.
I'll bet.
Yeah. So then we left, stopped at a Goodwill, because we couldn't catch the 7:30 showing. We had to go to the 9 o'clock showing.
Gotcha.
But that was really fun. So, so we saw it. Of course, we have our thoughts now, but yeah, it was a great time. So, just to go see that movie. So those movies. So, yeah.
Now, from my experience,
yeah,
there's a local theater here for those who aren't familiar with here in Franklin. The Historic Artcraft Theater shows a lot of old movies that are older than 10 years old.
I thought it was 20 years.
I thought it was just 10. I was told 10 when I worked there.
Well, I remember going there like in 3rd grade for like a field trip. Mm-hmm. We went all around town, and they said that the films had to be at least 20 years old. Could be wrong, but
I don't know. 10 years was what I was told when I worked there, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There is something to watching an old classic on the big screen. Mm-hmm. Going to the Historic Artcraft is your chance to see a lot of classics on the big screen. And if you ever get a chance to see a movie that you particularly like on the big screen, take it, because it's worth it in most cases. The movie that I'm going to be talking about was Jaws. Mm-hmm. I went to a packed theater at the Artcraft and saw that movie. And with a lot of these horror movies, like I have an example of a bad theater experience, not with annoying people or anything, but one that brought down the movie, even though it is a classic. It was Halloween. Mm-hmm. Now, with a lot of horror movies, when some of the more scarier bits have lost their luster over the years, people will laugh, and that kind of brings it down. Did not have that issue with Jaws.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like during the climax of the movie when Jaws is dragging along the barrels, when those barrels would come up, people wouldn't start outright laughing, but people would be going like, "Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go." Oh. And it was endearing. And the body and the ship at the bottom of the sea, that got everybody. And there were screams of terror, and there was laughter at those screams of terror. It was amazing. Everybody enjoyed it. And no one laughed at the beginning scene with the lady who got pulled under, Jaws' first victim. Nobody laughed or said anything about that. You could hear a pen drop after that scene went on. So I'm glad to see that Jaws still has that effect on people. But yeah, it was a great audience. People were really into it. All the moments that they were supposed to laugh, they laughed. All the moments that they weren't supposed to laugh, they laughed. But it was endearing. It kind of added to the film.
Interesting.
It was like a public acknowledgement of, this was probably scary at one point, but we still enjoy it.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that people remember this movie, and I think that audience reaction is evidence of why people still remember this movie.
Definitely. Yeah.
And now, we pass things over to Ryan.
All right. Ryan, if you send it over, which you better have.
And what do we do if he didn't send it over?
Well, he didn't send it over, so.
Okay, so my all-time favorite movie-going experience was actually this past May when I got to see Avengers Infinity War in IMAX. It was the first time in a very, very long time I had been able to go to an IMAX screen, and the reason why it was so enjoyable is because the entire film was shot with IMAX camera. So before I had seen it in IMAX, I had given it 2 more viewings. One was just a regular showing, and then another one was at a different theater, but it was still the same format of theater. Therefore, when I went to the IMAX, there was much more detail and about 33% more screen real estate shown off with the movie. Therefore, you got to see more detail, more of the big, expansive world, and Marvel basically got to have more fun and show off just more detail, and it was really, really cool to see bits and pieces of the film that I had not seen the 2 other times I had seen the movie, and then going back to rewatch it at a later time in non-IMAX, it just didn't stack up. So the IMAX showing of Avengers Infinity War is by far my best movie-going experience.
Thanks for joining us on the Friday show, everybody.
Yep.
Leave in the comments your favorite theater experience, and it can be a bad one. You don't have to just strictly go good, even though that's what we talked about. If you want to talk about a bad theater
Talk
experience,
about a memorable one.
yeah, even if it was good, bad, talk about it. Put it in the comments below.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, thanks for watching and listening. Make sure to follow us on our new Facebook page, our Twitter, which we may actually end up getting a new one.
Why are we?
Because we can't get into the old one that we set up back in the day. And follow us on our personal Facebook, or follow us on our personal YouTube channels and everything. And, yeah. So thanks, guys, for watching and listening. Take care.